In this video, guys, let's quickly talk about trading IPOs. Stay tuned. Hey guys, warm welcome to you. Alright, so trading IPOs from a different angle. So we've had a few IPOs recently that have just really struggled. Deliveroo was a great one in the UK. If you're not aware that you deliver in the UK, it's basically like Uber Eats or DoorDash. I think you have it across the water in the States. Basically delivering food from restaurants to your door. Big IPO. There's a lot of controversy around the workers, etc., etc. Let's not go into the fundamentals about it, but really struggled. The IPO was at 390, opened up, whatever it was, 330, closed the day at under £3. Yeah, that's not a good start for the IPO. Then you've got other things like SEMrush in the US, kind of software thing for analyzing websites and kind of SEO type of software. Did really well. IPO'd and it's just rallied up to $16 ever since. So what are the attributes of IPO? And there's others out there. I'm not going to go to kind of each individual one. I've got a few on here that I'll talk about in a moment. But what are the attributes we're looking for to trade these IPOs? So I think the first thing you've got to do, guys, is forget about the noise. Right? So much noise out there. Forget about opinion. Look at the facts. So Coinbase is a kind of a great one. There's a lot of people who think, hey, this is most ridiculous. A lot of people think it's a great thing. Forget about other people's opinion. Just look at some of the information. Now, the things you can take are what's the IPO like? Is there any story behind it? Now, we don't normally get this with stuff. We did with Deliveroo. Slightly different with Deliveroo. There was a lot of controversy about a lot of the funds weren't interested in getting involved in it. It didn't seem to be oversubscribed. There was some kind of negative connotations and news to it. Doesn't mean it's going to collapse straight away, but you've got to be a bit careful. But of course, don't forget that the investment banks will just raise the IPO price to match the demand. So you've got to be careful, even if it sounds like the aggressive, it's IPO and it's great. The investment banks will want to get as high a price as possible. So we're not trading the validity of the company as such, especially if you're trading short-term. Investment's different. You might think Deliveroo, great, they're going to get bought out by Uber later on, whatever it may be. You might tuck them away, forget about it, fine. We're talking about trading for now. So you've got to be careful that you're not listening to noise. Look at facts by all means. Even better is to look at price action. Guys, I like my price action. I know that many of you have kind of, your light bulb's gone off when you started following price action. That's lovely to hear. It's great to hear. You're finally making some good money and getting some progress. When you kind of adopt the price action methodology, tweak it to adjust it to suit your style, of course. But it's how it performs in the first few days that are really key. Deliveroo, devastated first couple of days. SEMrush, slightly different. Yes, admittedly now we broke out, but it's not been sold off. If you look at some of the attributes of a good IPO, they kind of, they hold okay. Sure, there's a bit of a wobble, a bit of adjustment while things settle down because, of course, it's just a new thing, trying to find the equilibrium. Sure, investment banks have gone out there on a roadshow and said this and sold it from an investment thesis, but how it reacts on a short-term basis is very different. It's still finding its feet when it starts trading. Roblox is a good example of one that reasonably strong market, and then it fell back a little bit, and then it kind of held, and this is one that sits in the middle. Trustpilot, another one in the UK. A bit of a rubbish start, but started to kind of push up. That's not really what you want. This had all the attributes, of a Deliveroo type situation. Horrible start, and then it started to rally. The point is, guys, is that if you're going to buy an IPO, now shorting is a different thing. Let's talk about buying it. I personally would want to wait and see until that first couple of days high is broken and held. So if you look at SEMrush, it broke, it held above it. So this is the area that you're like, okay, there's some mileage here. People are prepared to buy this. Supply demand is shifted into demand. Of course, got to manage your risk, got to have some sort of stop loss in, but it's a good rule of thumb to frame the first couple of days of trade, get your kind of pen out, get your drawing pen out or drawing lines or whatever, and go, okay, this is where we are. And look how important those first few days of trade was in this example. You're struggling with $13, finally broke, showing there's some sort of demand there. Bumble, different ball game. First few days of trade, we're nowhere near that high. We're nowhere near that high yet. Now, of course, if you want to buy on a double bottom, that's a different strategy. Fine. But I think that the first few days are very important. Deliveroo, nowhere near that. We look at Coinbase, it's just starting to get going. Let's see what happens with that. Trustpilot, just starting to hold. Does that feel like the supply demand is shifting? Maybe. Starting to come up onto my watch list a little bit. Roblox, again, on the watch list, started to come above that prior day's high. Let the noise all shuffle out, because the danger you've got is you pile into the IPO, pile in after a couple of days, it shudders lower just because of supply demand. it goes from, if you run from 76, it goes to 60, you might, from a trader's perspective, that's enough to get you out. Let the noise kind of sort itself out, and then see price response and price behavior relative to those first couple of days highs. If it's holding above that high, and again, opinion only, do your own due diligence, all that kind of stuff, guys. You know the risk rules, but just that seems to me that's a better chance to look for it and see that, hey, there's some more demand coming in from somewhere. It's holding okay. It's above a reasonable benchmark. It was where it kind of found its feet in the first few days. Let's see where it goes. Let's see if it holds. And then you can see that something like Bumble, nowhere near yet, but something like SEMrush took a while, but ultimately it's held it. Now it's gone on and on. Now, who knows where it goes from this? Other strategies to get involved in, bull flags, first pullbacks, all that kind of stuff. Fine. But summary of the video, guys, if you're trading the IPOs, personal preference, again, take away what you like, what you don't like from the videos. That's really the whole point of it. Wait for the first couple of days, frame that high, frame that low, and then see once you start to break out how it responds. That becomes a bit more of an indicator. Hey, if we close above that, maybe I want to get involved in it, like the SEMrush. Maybe I want to kind of use the stop below that low and see if I can get a 3 or 4 day run from it. If we don't, if we're doing a Bumble, if we're doing a Roadblock's not quite there yet, then maybe, hey, you know what, I'll wait a little bit. Roadblock's not bad because it closed above, it hasn't gone below that low yet. You'd want that to kind of really drive higher on it, but you kind of get the idea. Wait for the price action to confirm the idea, and if it doesn't happen, just put it on your watch list. Deliveroo, if you like Deliveroo, stick on your watch list. Stick your alert at 390 and see if it comes back there again. Facebook's a great example of years ago, struggled with the IPO and lower and lower and lower. Eventually it came higher, and then when it did finally go through the highs, it ran on and on and on. So watch out for that, guys. I know a lot of you are watching Coinbase at the moment. Again, I think just to watch the first couple of days, frame it, see how it responds to that. If it gets a good bid and holds, exhibiting strength. There's something there that's maybe you can get your teeth stuck into. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.